Last week, Vegas had said anyone can win on any given Sunday except for the Panthers. Well, what do you know? The Panthers won. So how's that? How are them apples, Vegas?
I didn't say the Carolina Panthers. I said the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And welcome, everybody, to our Week 4 predictions. This is a video where every single week we predict who we think is going to win each NFL matchup. This week it'll be Week 4's matchups. Last week, I went 7-9 with my predictions because the NFL sucks. T-Bone went 10-6 with his, so T-Bone's lead over me increases by 3 games, bringing his record up to 29-19, and mine goes to 23-25. I don't think anyone had a losing record at any point last year. We had losing weeks, but it's been a rough start for me. Hopefully I'm able to recover, though. I feel good about my chances this week. I like my picks this week. I know those are famous last words. But anyways, let's get into it. Starting off with our first matchup, it's Thursday Night Football. You've got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the New York Giants. The Cowboys coming off of a tough loss to the Baltimore Ravens, in which they were down big late, but able to mount a comeback and ended up falling just short, 3 points shy of coming back against the Baltimore Ravens. Looking for a bounce-back win here against the New York Giants, who are coming off of their first win of the season. This one over the Cleveland Browns, an upset victory. Daniel Jones looking maybe a little better. We'll have to see. Malik Neighbors is an absolute beast. There are definitely some questions to be had about Dallas' defense, so maybe the Giants can make this a competitive game. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I truly think that this is an enigma of a game because the Giants are better than I thought, but they also suck. The Cowboys also are better than I thought, but they can also crap the bed.
They're better than you thought? I'd argue they're worse than we thought.
No. They go back and forth, but I mean, Dak Prescott is leading the league. They're having a rough start, but I still think overall, Brandon Aubrey being able to kick so far has been very good and consistently to it. It's also an NFC East game, so that adds another layer of insanity. So I'm going to say the Cowboys pretty handedly, but anything could happen, you know?
I actually think, given this is a home game for the Giants, it's in division, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game. The Giants are playing better than they should be. The Cowboys are playing worse than they should be, which really just means exactly what everyone expects because that's how the Dallas Cowboys are. But I do still think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this football game. I think they are the better team on both sides of the ball, and I don't think they're going to be able to make enough mistakes to lose this game. Also, shout out Brandon Aubrey, former Birmingham Stallion, 3-time champs, baby. Let's go Stallions. And we were fans before they won any championships. We saw the name Scooby Wright III and said, that's our team. And turns out he was a stud. Unfortunately, he has to retire. Sad that he can't play anymore, but regardless. Brandon Aubrey setting the Cowboys record, 65-yard field goal. Congratulations, dude. Absolute unit. Alrighty. Our next matchup is the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Bengals coming off of a tough loss on Monday Night Football to the Washington Commanders, in which their offense absolutely lit it up. 0 punts, extremely impressive day by Joe Burrow. Impressive offensive performance all the way around, but the defense failed them completely. Also giving up 0 punts, first time in a game since 1940, I believe. It was either 32 or 40 that a game had 0 punts by either team. 0 punts and also 0 interceptions, I think, as well. Just insane game. Cincinnati fall because their defense couldn't keep it up, and they're going to have to against Carolina and Andy Dalton, who are coming off of an incredible offensive performance this past week. Dalton was the first player in the NFL to hit 300 yards passing in an NFL game this year. Obviously, a few guys later in the week also performed that feat, but the Panthers' offense looked brand new and really impressive with Dalton leading the attack. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I actually want to say it was 300 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns.
That might be it. Too
But
too many facts figures in my head, both for this and for school. We're
but
in testing season, so sorry if
but
the facts get a little jumbled.
I think because it's still early, and despite some of the injuries that we have suffered, I got the Panthers. I think they'll keep riding the momentum.
I definitely think this is going to be a close game, and it's going to be a fun game. But I'm going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is a must-win game. They gotta have this one, and they're going to put their all into it. Starting 0-4, especially with how tough their division is just a death wish if they want to make the playoffs. Number two, the offense looked potent last week. They looked really, 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 really good, and if they play that good, they will beat Carolina this week. And number three, you now have Andy Dalton tape. You didn't have that last week. The Raiders didn't have that last week. The Raiders are seeing what's fresh. It's not going to be fresh anymore, so the Bengals have a better idea how to stop it, even if their defense can't really stop anything right now. So, all those reasons, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. Alrighty, our next matchup is the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints coming off of a tough loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, in which, yet again, two of their defenders ran into each other, and it led to a ginormous chunk play that should have never happened, which led to the Eagles taking the lead, and then Derek Carr threw a pick. A game where offense went to die until the last 2 minutes of the game. Very bad game for the New Orleans Saints on offense. Defense looked good, although it was more the Eagles sucking than their defense actually being impressive. Got a lot to work on this week in a big division matchup against Atlanta, who are coming off of a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, where they did play well, but fell short in the end. Atlanta has been better than people expected this year. Kirk Cousins has really stepped it up the last couple of weeks and looking for a big early season division win here. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I think Kirk is going to give it his all, but I don't think that all is going to be enough. I think even though it's going to be at home for the Falcons, the Saints are going to win this one.
I think this is going to be a really close matchup, but I think the New Orleans Saints are going to find a way to bounce back and get the win here. Division games are always weird. You never really know. This one is honestly 50-50 for me, but I think the Saints get it done. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Houston Texans. The Jags coming off of another humiliating loss, this time into the hands of the Buffalo Bills. Jacksonville has not won a game since Thanksgiving. It has been a really, really rough stretch for them, and at this point, Doug Peterson probably should be fired. The team is just a hot mess. They're not playing good football right now.
We're not going to talk that blasphemy on the Rottweiler Patriots. Not yet.
Meanwhile, the Houston Texans, coming off of a blowout loss of their own, this one to the Minnesota Vikings, an absolute shocker. They'll be looking to bounce back here against division rivals Jacksonville. T-Bone, your thoughts?
So I do think that it very well may be time to have some conversations about Jacksonville personnel. Whether that's Dougie P or not, I'm not so sure. And I know they're going to want to win a game. It's not going to be this one. Sorry, guys. Texans are going to come back and bite y'all in the butt.
I am going to say something, and you're going to hate me for this. The Jacksonville Jaguars will not win another game with Doug Peterson as their head coach. Give me Houston.
Are you promising that? I
will guarantee it.
Guarantee? You're saying take it to the bank. It's guaranteed.
They're going to lose this week, and if he's not fired after this week or next week, I'd be amazed if I'm being completely honest. He is the problem. He's one of many problems, but he's one of the chief problems, and he needs to go.
Now, I know you know this. You do realize that Jacksonville used to have the worst owner before David Tepper said, hold my beer and then let me throw it.
No, because Dan Snyder.
Okay, it was neck and neck. I don't know the guy's name, but he sucks. He's not good. Khan. Mustache Man doesn't do good.
He wasn't happy this week, I'll say that much. But I, I don't. Doug Peterson was wrongfully fired in Philadelphia. I will absolutely argue that. If they fire him, it will be the right decision. That's the move they need to make here. I'm sorry. It's blunt. But it's the brutal, honest truth. Dougie P's got to go. Plain and simple. This team needs a change. He's the number one change I would make. And Jacksonville does not win another game until Doug Peterson is gone. Plain and simple. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Denver Broncos taking on the New York Jets. The Broncos coming off of an upset win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Able to finally get their first win of the season last year to improve to 1-2. Looking to get another one against the New York Jets here. Bo Nix has looked decent early on. Still a lot of questions, though, for Denver. Defense has been solid, though, and they'll have to have a really good day against Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets, who are coming off of an impressive Thursday Night Football over the New England Patriots, in which Rodgers looked like his old self again. Played impressive football, excellent line adjustments, excellent decision-making, very accurate passing, and they made it tough for New England's defense to do their job. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, they made it tough. I think this will be closer because I think Denver's starting to get kind of a rhythm, but I've got the Jets. I think Rodgers is going to lead them to victory. Despite the good defense, by the way. Despite the good defense, I think Pat Surtain will be a problem. Funny. That same exact sentence was said 20 years ago. But no, I think the Jets got it.
I also am going to take the New York Jets to win this football game. I think they're a better team than the Denver Broncos. I think Aaron Rodgers is firing on all cylinders right now. And regardless of what happens, as long as he continues to play like he did last week, they're going to have a really tough time losing games. And Nick just doesn't have the experience he needs to win a potentially offensive shootout game. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Vikings coming off of a blowout victory over the Houston Texans. They are really showing how good of a football team they are. Their defense, one of the best in the league early on this year, have been shutting teams down, and their offense has been high-flying and impressive. Sam Darnold turning over a new leaf, looking really good early on in the year. Justin Jefferson playing great football. They have a tough battle, though, against the Green Bay Packers, who themselves are coming off of a pretty impressive win. This one over the Tennessee Titans. Malik Willis beats his former team and looks good doing it. This is a team that's firing on all cylinders, and if Jordan Love comes back this week, it's going to be an even tougher battle. T-Bone, your thoughts?
This may be game of the week besides the Panthers game if Jordan Love comes back. There's
a few games of the week this week. There's a lot of good ones.
See, you say that. I don't think so. No. Say that the Bills game is going to be game of the week. It's not.
Bills Ravens could be good. Lions Seahawks could be good.
That one would be good.
49ers could be good.
Okay, calm down. Green Bay is going to do good. I just think the Vikings are going to do better.
I also am going to take the Minnesota Vikings. Their defense has just been incredible. If Jordan Love does come back, I'm curious if he's going to be able to play to 100% the level expected before. The Vikings are just playing good football right now. Obviously, it's division matchup. Anything can happen. Stuff gets weird. But for right now, give me the Minnesota Vikings. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Steelers coming off of a nice victory over the Los Angeles Chargers, in which they completely dominated them in the second half and shut them down, especially after Justin Herbert went down with injury. But the Steelers, one of the few 3-0 teams in the NFL, have looked really, really good this year. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts coming off of their first win of the season, this one over the Chicago Bears, in which their defense was able to do enough to hold off the Bears' offense, mostly by proxy of the Bears' offensive line just not existing. I'm sure many of y'all have seen the funny image this week. If you haven't, look it up. It's hilarious. You just look up fourth and goal Bears Colts offensive line. It's so funny. Just all 5 Bears offensive linemen laying on the ground. 7 Colts just chasing down Swift. So, but anyways, the Colts finally look at their first win of the season. Anthony Richardson been a bit shaky to start the year. Kind of Josh Allen-like. Makes some great plays, also turns the ball over. He's got to protect the football this week against a stingy Steelers defense if they want to have a chance. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say if there was a few more games under Richardson's belt, this would be a different outcome. Because the Steelers don't have a remarkable offense, but it's good. It functions. It does what it needs to do. Then the Steelers' defense is going to be what anchors them, and I've got the Steelers.
I also am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. That defense is firing all cylinders. Best defense in terms of points per game in the league so far. Absolutely impressive. Fields doing what he needs to do on the offensive side of the ball. Protect the football, not turning over, getting enough points to stay ahead of the opponent. And Richardson's a guy who's able to make big plays, but he's got to cut out the mistakes, and he just hasn't done that yet. We know it's possible. And for a young quarterback, he makes less than most, but he definitely still has stuff to work on, and because of that, give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Chicago Bears. The Rams coming off of their first win of the season, an upset victory over the San Francisco 49ers, in which the Niners blew the game late. Had a late lead. The Rams able to come back and win it. A battle of two very injured teams, but the Rams, the more resilient in the end, get the win to get their first win of the season. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears coming off of a tough loss to the Indianapolis Colts, in which they're definitely looking to be better than they were. A lot of questions for them as they fall to 1-2, looking to win their second game of the season. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, this will be difficult. I think the defense for Chicago is going to give LA some trouble, especially since they're not full health, but I got the Rams.
I think the experience of Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams' playmaking ability is going to be a big deal because you have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua out, but Williams is still a really good playmaker. They still got some reliable players to work with. They still got a solid defense, and the Chicago Bears' offensive line is just so incredibly bad right now that their offense hasn't been able to function both in the passing and the running game, and I think the Rams are going to get after it, and I think that's why the Rams are going to win this football game. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is another game I would call maybe one of the games of the week. Philadelphia coming off of a tough win over the New Orleans Saints, in which they, quite frankly, looked really, 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 really bad, to the point where Nick Sirianni probably should be fired. But they were able to, due to some mistakes by the Saints at the end of the game, squeak out a victory and improve to 2-1. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off their first loss of the season, a blowout loss to the Denver Broncos, in which things just didn't go well. Broncos defense able to shut down what was a high-flying Tampa Bay offense. Tampa Bay's defense didn't do enough, and they fall. They're looking for a bounce-back win here. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Man, you were just big on firing coaches, man. What is your deal? I got the Bucs. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be nice because it's a rematch from, I believe it was last year's wild card.
Yes, this was wild card last year, which Tampa Bay did win.
Yes, I think it's going to be a repeat. I do. I think it's going to be a repeat.
I think the Philadelphia Eagles are just having too many problems. And yes, fire Nick Sirianni. I'm on that. I've watched a decent amount of the Eagles lately. What happened the second half of last year and what's happening at the beginning of this year, the 2-1 start is not an accurate reflection for this Eagles team, in my opinion. They did not deserve to beat the Packers. They were very fortunate to do that. They did not deserve to beat the Saints at all, and they were extremely fortunate that they won that game. They had one of the worst chokes I've ever seen against Atlanta last week. Just terrible coaching, terrible play. Saquon's been good, but just this Eagles team is too talented to be playing as bad as they are, and that goes back to coaching. So fire Nick Sirianni, and give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this football game, because right now they're the better football team. Alrighty, our next matchup is The New England Patriots taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Patriots coming off a blowout loss to the New York Jets, in which they elected to pass the ball way too many times and only run at 13, despite the run game being what led to their offensive success in the first 2 weeks, and the defense had a tough time stopping Aaron Rodgers, who played an absolutely incredible football game. Whereas the San Francisco 49ers, coming off of a tough loss to the Los Angeles Rams, which they held a late lead, but let it fall away. Some defensive concerns for San Francisco early in the year, and then obviously a lot of key injuries on offense. McCaffrey out, Samuel questionable, Purdy questionable. A lot of questions for both of these teams early on in the year. T-Bone, your thoughts?
49ers. I don't care how injured they are. New England's not winning this.
So I'm also going to take the San Francisco 49ers to win the football game, but I think this is going to be a really tight football game because I think New England's defense is going to effectively be able to limit what San Francisco does on offense, especially with an extra 4 days of preparation. Or it's more like 3. And I think that the offense is going to go back to doing what works, which is running the football, and I think they're going to slowly improve in the passing game as the season goes on. The 49ers defensive front is going to make the passing game tough because our offensive blocking has been rough, but I think New England makes it a close football game, but San Francisco pulls it out in the end. Alrighty. Our next matchup is the Washington Commanders taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Commanders coming off of a really good Monday Night Football win over the Cincinnati Bengals, in which their offense and Jaden Daniels looked absolutely impressive. 2 consecutive weeks where they've scored on every single drive and had 0 punts aside from kneel downs. Just impressive from the Commanders' offense. Obviously, a lot of questions about the defense. Defense is a huge weakness in this team, and they got a lot to work on, especially taking on the Arizona Cardinals, whose strength is their offense as well. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. have had a really good connection the last couple of weeks, obviously coming off a tough loss to a really good Detroit Lions team, which will knock them down to 1-2. But regardless, the Cardinals have looks like they could be dangerous on the offensive side of the ball. They also have some defensive questions, so this one could definitely be a shootout. T-Bone, your thoughts?
This will be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it. I've got the Cardinals, but not by a lot. I think it's just because Murray's more established is what really edges it out for me.
This is going to be a really, really, really tough game, but I also have picked the Arizona Cardinals to win it. I do think Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to be the difference makers this week, and I think they're going to do just enough to outplay Jaden Daniels and get the win. Alrighty, our next matchup is the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Chiefs coming off of a tough win over the Atlanta Falcons, in which maybe just maybe got a titsy bintsy little bit of help from the Weffy Zeeble Weebas. We know the story by now. We've covered it extensively. Regardless, Chiefs able to get the win over the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Improved to 3-0, looking like one of the better teams in the NFL, whereas the Los Angeles Chargers coming off of a tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their first of the year, in which Justin Herbert went down and they couldn't really do anything at all in the second half. Herbert, I think, should be back this week. It'll be interesting to see, but I still think Kansas City's the favorite. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I think the Chiefs have got it. I don't know how Herbert's going to do. I don't know if Herbert's going to play. If he doesn't, definitely the Chiefs going to win. If he is, it's going to be closer. I think the refs are going to help him regardless.
I also have the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers will have a few key players missing from this one, and I just think the Chiefs just win these divisional games. It's weird. They're like the one team where, unless they're playing the Raiders, the Chiefs are like the one team in the NFL where the rules of whatever happens in the division just don't apply. So I think the Chiefs are the better team, and they will beat the Chargers this week. Alrighty, our next matchup is The Cleveland Browns taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Browns coming off of a tough loss to the New York Giants, not a team they wanted to be losing to. They definitely have a lot of questions early on in the season. The defense has been all right. The offense, though, not good at all. Deshaun Watson has not been playing good football. And without Nick Chubb in the backfield right now to bolster the run game, they just haven't been able to get anything going on offense. Whereas the Las Vegas Raiders, coming off of a tough loss to the Carolina Panthers, in which they got absolutely lit up by Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, and just not a great performance at all from the Raiders. They'll be looking for a bounce back at home against Cleveland. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I think that the Browns are going to have a bounce back win. I think the Raiders are going to have another loss. Just the fact that you don't have, you have Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. It's just kind of odd. Also, Devontae Adams was dropping passes. So I think the defense is going to smother them.
These are two teams that have a lot of questions. I have a hard time picking a winner here, but I also am going to agree and choose the Cleveland Browns to win this football game. I think of these two dumpster fires, they are slightly less on fire, and thus will go into Vegas and get the win. Alrighty, our next matchup, it's Sunday Night Football. You've got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Two AFC powerhouses going at it. The Bills coming off of an absolute shellacking of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're looking like the best team in the NFL through the early parts of the season. Excellent football on offense, excellent football on defense, spreading the sugar all the way around. Everyone's getting some, and it's just really great football. Beautiful play from the Buffalo Bills. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens finally able to get their first win of the year against the Dallas Cowboys last week, but boy, oh boy, are there a lot of questions about the fourth quarter play for Baltimore. That's 2 weeks in a row where they've allowed comebacks. One allowed them to bite them in the butt. This time they're barely able to fend off Dallas, so no lead is safe in Baltimore. They got to improve their fourth quarter play. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It was real good football, if I'm being honest. Good on offense, good on defense. This is going to be an interesting game. I think Baltimore is actually going to lose this one, though. Buffalo seems to be on a kick, and I think they're going to keep going. They may be the last undefeated team, is my prediction right now.
I probably would tend to agree with you. I think the Buffalo Bills will win this football game. I think the Ravens will make it close, but again, their inability to win games in the fourth quarter, to hold leads even, it's going to bite them in the butt until they figure it out, and Buffalo's not a team that's going to give you any sort of leeway in that respect, and so I think Buffalo's going to get the win. Alrighty, moving on to Monday Night Football game number 1. You've got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Titans coming off of a tough loss to the Green Bay Packers, in which Will Levis again did not look great. Defense also had a tough time stopping a potent Packers offense, who've clearly found their groove with backup quarterback Malik Willis. But Tennessee has got to figure something out. They got a chance against a very injured Miami team this week, whereas the Dolphins, coming off of a big-time loss to the Seattle Seahawks, where backup quarterback Skylar Thompson is now hurt. He is day-to-day. I think it's questionable to play in this one. Regardless if Thompson is in or not, the Dolphins have not been playing good football, and it's been a tough go early on. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, I keep doing Tennessee because I think, there's no way, but Will Levis keeps crapping the bed. No, there's no way Tennessee doesn't win this one. Give me Tennessee.
Yeah. I also think the Tennessee Titans will get the win. I think Miami's offense is playing so bad right now that not even Will Levis can throw this game away. Although, to be fair, the Bears' offense didn't do anything and they still threw that one away. But I think the Dolphins' offense is just not playing good football at all. And I think that because of that, the Titans' defense is going to eat them alive, and Levis isn't going to have to win the game for them. He's just going to have to not lose it, which he's been losing, but he'll have a bigger window to work with, and I think they get it done this week finally. And last, but certainly not least, Monday Night Football Game number 2 you've got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Detroit Lions. The Seahawks coming off of a pretty comfortable win over the Miami Dolphins to improve to 3-0. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL so far this year. They've looked really, really impressive. Honestly, on both sides of the ball. Geno Smith really coming into his own, playing great football. They got a lot of good receiving options. Obviously, the run game's a concern, especially with Kenneth Walker still out. Charbonnet hasn't been incredible as backup, but Seattle still looked like one of the better teams in the NFL, whereas Detroit, coming off of a bounce-back win, this one over the Arizona Cardinals after falling to the Buccaneers in Week 2. They're looking like one of the best teams in the NFL with a really potent offense, an excellent defense, and a team that's going to be vying for the higher seeds in the conference. T-Bone, your thoughts?
You sure talk a lot.
Not really.
Lions. I get the Lions. The Seahawks are good. They'll keep winning. They just won't win this game.
I think Seattle versus Detroit is going to be a really, really fun football game. I think Seattle's offense is going to be solid, although Detroit will have a good defense. I think Seattle's defense, though, is going to be what wins them this football game. So give me the Seattle Seahawks. Detroit, despite playing well, has had a few issues early on in the year offensively, and they've really needed some tight play just to barely beat the Rams in Week 1. And I think the Seahawks defense is going to be the best defense they've faced so far this year. I think they're going to struggle against it, and I think the Seahawks offense is going to do enough to stay ahead of the curve and get the win over the Detroit Lions. Alrighty, there you have it. That concludes our predictions for this week. Please be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to drop your own predictions or anything else you'd like. We would love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.